In short, Afropark is an events company. So what we do is we are building a platform for African creatives and tech entrepreneurs, and creating a space for them to connect, to promote their brands, and to grow their businesses digitally. So what we do is we host our own events, but we also are on the lookout for different people who want to host their own events. And we're especially looking for people who are looking to add value to African creatives and entrepreneurs. So one of the people that we're so happy to collaborate with on a regular basis is Buro, and that's where we are right now. It's more than a co-working space. It's a space that's built to grow entrepreneurs and freelancers. The idea is to take care of everything so that you can focus on thriving and connecting and collaborating and building your business in the way that you need to. So we're having to collaborate with Buro, and this community cinema is going to be a recurring event, so look out for more of such events. Tonight, the organization that's bringing us these films is Cinema57, and I'm going to hand over the mic to Albert to tell us more about Cinema57. But right before I do that, just a few housekeeping rules. There are snacks on our snack tables, so please help yourselves to them. They're complimentary. You can also see our merch by the side. Please take a look. We have caps, shirts, tote bags. The restroom is to my left at the back behind the pigeonholes. And the last thing is the wristbands. You'll see that there are QR codes on the wristband. So throughout the night, please give us your feedback. Let us know how the experience is going for you. And then the last thing, please remember to turn off your phones or put them on airplane mode, silent mode, just so that we don't disturb the films. Okay, so that's it. Enjoy yourselves.
Thank you all. So yes, please consider giving a round of applause to yourself. You guys are really amazing. So like I also said, my name is Albert. I run Cinema57. We like to describe ourselves as an alternative cinema. Rather than you going to the cinema, we like to bring the cinema to people with our community cinema initiative. So the idea is to use film to spark meaningful and impactful conversations. And this is one of such events. We're going to go through 3 amazing films. We did this the last 2 months ago with #WeDayInside, which touched on mental health in the creative space. This time we're touching on social issues. So we have 3 amazing films that we're going to watch and then have conversations in between. So we're dividing it into 2 parts. There are 2 films that talk about child slavery and child labor, and then one that talks about domestic violence and rape culture. So we'll bring the movies to you. We'll have a conversation in between both films. So please, prepare yourselves. It's supposed to be a conversation. So please just bear in mind, let's keep the conversation going. Let's talk about these things and then start the conversation on getting these kind of things solved in a way. All right. But before that, we're going to go through a few trailers from some of our partner filmmakers as well. So sit tight. We'll start the movie soon. Thank you. And a round of applause again for yourself. Thank you. It's still around the same area of trafficking and all these. Awesome. These are one of our post for you.
Thank you. When you said I should say something, I wasn't so sure. I thought it would be a question. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Advocacy. I work with International Justice Mission. I do media communications. So I was hoping it would be a question and answer, so I'll be able to easily do it. But what I can say is the story of Foley. Foley is a real person, as we saw him. He's a real person, and he's one of several tens of thousands of children who have been trafficked into situations of abuse and exploitation on the Volta Lake. This issue has been very prevalent, and I think the conversations that we had earlier about the culture, about rape and all that, they all go into this one. You know, in Ghanaian society, there's this whole thing about families taking care of one another. You know, your uncle could take care of you, your auntie. I grew up with my father's brother when my father passed, and it's okay. But then people exploit these situations where they abuse these children. They are in high school. You'll be surprised that in a fishing community where certain children are going on the lake, the children of the fishermen are going to school. And this is quite prevalent, especially in areas in the voting area. It's quite prevalent. So what IJM has been doing since 2015, our office started groundswork more in 2014, and since 2015, what we have done is, with our main focus being strengthening of the justice system, what we have been doing is to support the police, the Department of Social Welfare, and the judicial service. So what we do with the police and DSW is that they go on rescue missions, so they do investigations, find out which of these children, you know, in a pool of children in an area, or even in a pool of children on the lake, not all of them will be trafficked. There are some who are even the children of the fishermen themselves, and there are some who have been trafficked where their parents are receiving as little as 100 cedis in a year. Some parents get 50 cedis and they take their children away. So they transported them from a source community, and most of the source communities are in the coastal areas in Ghana. So we are looking at Ada, we are looking at Brew, the Gomwa areas. A lot of these children come from these areas and from some areas in the Volta region. Then they take them onto the Volta, so more of the mid-Volta, upper Volta, north Volta, northern side of the Volta Lake. That is where they take the children to go and work. They pay their parents a certain amount of money and use these children on the lake, abuse them, they are denied good health. And it's quite tough. As watching the film and talking about this, I'm just remembering one of the rescue missions that I was on, where I had to take forensic photos so that the police can go on to prosecute some of these cases, and it was hard to read wrenching. It's something that you would have to be mentally prepared for and deal with afterwards to see that the little children have been subjected to this abuse. So the police and the Department of Social Welfare go into these areas, rescue the children, and then take them through all the psychosocial support that they need, that's the ESW, and then put them in shelter, and afterwards trace their families and find the most suitable relative that they can reintegrate the children with, because the best place for the child is not in the shelter, it's with the family where they can grow. Whilst that's going on, the police and as well as the Attorney General's Department are also working on the case to prosecute, so that we cannot just rescue one child and then the boatmaster or the fisherman goes to another child. It must stop, it must cease. So at what point must it cease that the law, the Human Trafficking Act, is followed through to the latter, where there is prosecution, which serves as a deterrent to those who are guilty of the crime. The police and the Attorney General's Department does that. So as IJM, what we do as a global organization generally is that we want to protect people who are vulnerable from violence. Our lady just said something which is very important, that people with money and power are exempt from accountability. And that's very prevalent, especially in countries where poverty is, despite a sizable amount of poverty. And what we seek to do all across the world is that wherever there's any abuse of poor people who cannot speak up for themselves, and there's no one to speak up for them, International Justice Mission will go in and make sure that there's protection of such people. And so our work in India is more about bonded slavery. I don't know if any of us have heard about it. Our people work in there. We have work also going on in Bangladesh, in the Philippines. Online sexual exploitation of children is very prevalent in the Philippines. Our team works on there. In Africa, we have 3 offices in Uganda, Ghana, and then Kenya. Our Kenya office does police abuse of power, which is also very prevalent in Kenya, and also child sexual exploitation, more on the coast of Kenya. In Uganda, we were dealing with land theft, and land grabbing of the lands of widows and all that, and it's grown into a more violence against women and children program. And in Ghana, our program is more into human trafficking with specific focus on child trafficking. We've done some work too on the trafficking of women, young girls into the Middle East, where we've helped state institutions to bring some of these ladies back home who are into situations of exploitation. So our work mainly is to help the government, to support the government, and I would say that the Ghana government has done quite a good job at addressing this issue. There are still some gaps that need to be filled, and that is why we are there to support, and that is why all of you are there to support, to put your voice. Your voices actually carry weight, to put our voices to this issue, drum home about it. And it kind of borders around what we saw in Otokuno. It's about child protection. How do we ensure children are protected? They are not put into places of vulnerability where they could be hurt, they could be harmed, or even lose their lives. And what we saw, I don't think it's exaggerated. What we saw in Otokuno is not exaggerated at all. What we saw in the deep place about Fufu dying, it actually happens. There are several boys, and in my line as the media and comms the organization, I interact with them a lot. I gather their stories to share with our communities. There's hardly any one of the boys, now some of them are young men, they are grown. There's hardly any one of them who did not see a boy die on the lake. So imagine the trauma.